Okay, so I try this one more time without saying the guy's name. Um, so uh, my landlord, I'm not supposed to say people's names. So I came to Fall River, um, and I'm living in a rooming house because it was about the cheapest place in Fall River. But it was bad. The guy was on a phone day and night right outside my door with the phone. He was yelling and screaming at his family and friends. And one day he asked me, he said, "Hey, you have a, well, you have a, must have never had a hunchback." So I don't think so. I don't know, but and that's the only thing he ever said to me. And I remember the neighbor across the hallway was very good. Um, they were always picking on somebody who was downstairs in that street down below, and so it was one of the worst two rooming houses in the city. I heard that was the only place I could afford. My mother helped me to pay for a month or a few months. She didn't know, and I didn't know what I was getting into. So I I went to court and got a place in Respite. And Respite said you can stay here a month, but you got to find an apartment soon. So I found one within a month's time. It was a man, I won't say his name this time. So he was a great guy. He said to me, I said, I got only you got something like 360, and my pay was something like 390. So I said, well, I can't. If you raise the rent, I won't be able to stay there. He said, I promise I'll never raise it. Not once. I give you my word, I never raised the rent. And he kept his promise, I never raised it. I was there for about a year. So I had a job at the Children's Center and at Bristol Outlands at the same time. But I started feeling very uncomfortable in the townhouse, so I stopped going there. And the Children's Center was the job they got me, so I had to quit there too after a while, maybe a month or two. And I still had a job for Bristol Outlands doing Meals on Wheels. And so with a job like that, you have to stay for a while with each person delivering to, just to make sure they're all right. Stay with them every day, for at least 5 to 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, just to make sure they're physically all right and they've seen someone throughout the day. So you have to do that every day. So doing those two jobs, and then last I was going to Bristol, and the rent was taking up everything but about $60 of my pay every month. So I found an agency on the other side of Main Street, Fall River, that found apartments real quick. They said, whenever you could find one in Massachusetts, we moved there. My family was kind of upset about that. I didn't know what to do. And at the time, I wasn't as close to my family as that, unfortunately. Because of I don't take no choice. I still but so so they found me an apartment in about 6 months time. It's very quick. I mean, usually after like 3 or 4 years with Section 8 apartment. And it's in Hadley, Massachusetts, right between Amherst and Northampton. And so I moved there after about 6 months of waiting, and I got in contact with the maintenance lady. I was about to say her name too, but so I got in contact with her, and she said, "Well, you go from Worcester bus terminal to Amherst bus terminal, a bus stop in the middle of downtown Amherst, right near Emily Dickinson's house, Robert Frost." And so on the day I was leaving, I went to the registry, and I got a bus pass. They said I could get like 50% or more off bus fares all around local towns in that area. So they told me that at Bristol Elvis, so I did it that day that I was leaving the last day. And then my landlord actually, believe it or not, he actually gave me a ride to the bus station that day. And I used to try to help him out, but he would never accept it. Like I'd say, you want me to shovel with the wall and the snowfield and stuff like that. But he would say no because I'm worried about it because he had a bad heart. So I guess me and the landlord, he didn't want me to do anything, work or anything around the apartment. And I remember I had a neighbor upstairs who used to play the TV and everything during thunderstorms, usually sports games. They would shout and yell and everything. And geez, how bad is it going to get this guy's TV on? And it was a nice little room apartment. Took up everything. So my landlord actually gave me a ride to the bus depot. And I buy my ticket, I go inside, shook his hand, said, "I don't know, thanks for everything." And I never once raised the rent. He kept his word. Once raised it. I don't know if I said that. He said he never did it. Never once. So I got off at the bus depot, took my suitcase. I don't know if I had 1 or 2 suitcases, but it was heavy getting from Mountain Amherst to the apartment. So he dropped me off. I got a ticket inside and came out, sat down at the bus terminal, right across the street. Because he bought bread and breakfast. I don't know if the other guy was there too. Somebody did live there in 19th century. But then he bought bread across the street. I wouldn't want to stay at bed and breakfast. Oh, no, thanks. So it took about 2 hours to get to Worcester. One straight line, not straight line, but one stop at Worcester, the one stop in the trail. And so we went to Worcester and changed buses, going to the connection to Amherst. They kept telling me when I get there, don't call it Amherst, call it Amherst. Or the H is silent. H, whatever the way so I say that. Nope, now it's the H one, it's Amherst. So I got there at about nighttime. I'm on a pilot here at 9 o'clock at night. My family was very worried, upset. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't stay there. And my mother wanted me to go back to her. I was too old to first place and the second place. Couldn't deal with my stepfather too much. So it was much better to have mother than the original father. I have to say that. Much better to her, much better to her. He was not perfect, but he was much better to her. My original father was. So we get down there in Amherst and bus stopped and get on the bus. There's I've had some coffee, so I think that's what made me tired before. So there's a bookstore over here, and this stuff here is very strange. There's a bookstore over here. There's a few, maybe 1 or 2 stores between them. There's a bank, one bookstore over here, a library over here. 2 roads down this way, and this girl was there, probably a college age girl. She had on a high school, what looked like a high school Catholic school dress, and she said to me, I don't know if she was using a metaphor at the time or something, but she said to me, look, see those, it struck me strange because it was dark, it was nighttime, and she was there alone. And she says to me, see all those 2 window shutters banging back and forth across the street? And I said, yeah. And she said, then she waited a minute and she said, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm an SSDI. And she said, well, wait a minute. She said, well, it was good talking to you. And she went off in the direction of Sunderland. And I always thought that was strange that in the middle of the night, not the middle of the night, but like 9 o'clock at night, she's there alone. So, and after she left, I waited about 5 minutes or so, and I called the apartment place. And the lady had several conversations with me back at my apartment for River. So I knew her voice and everything, but her mother answered instead. Her mother, it was very hard for her to speak English. Very hard. And I couldn't understand what she was saying to get the directions to go to the apartment. So she's trying to tell me in broken English that it's not her daughter, but she sounded like her, but it was her mother. And so I think I called back again a few minutes later because I didn't know what to do. And this time she answered and she gave me directions to the apartment. I think I met her years later too, at a hospital. It was just recently, kind of recently, like 5 years ago I may have met her. And so she gave me directions, and that was heavy. Those suitcases that I was carrying were very heavy. A mile walk, maybe 3/4 of a mile, half a mile. It was heavy. And, so I got there. I have to stop down for a minute because I'm probably at the point where, so